We're ready to go through chapter 7 of What is a Man? The title of chapter 7 is Godly Man or Peter Pan. In this contrast, we get to highlight the aspect that God is pursuing is man's maturity. People think that manhood is a modern day dilemma, but if we go to Matthew chapter 11, verse 16, Jesus says these words which highlight the premise of his focus. To what shall I compare this generation? To what shall I liken this generation? It is like children who sit in the marketplace and call to their companions. Children in the marketplace calling out to their companions. This shows that Jesus was watching, and his perception was that men were not walking in maturity and responsibility, but they were walking in a substandard of existence. And so the highlight of manhood is his inability to walk in maturity. Now, all the things that cause a man to be inadequate in the relationships that he has and in the responsibilities that he will confront is the fact that he hasn't been able to attain the maturity required for those relationships. The star focus in chapter 7 is a relationship with a woman called marriage. And we say there in the marriage relationship, when a husband is immature, he lacks responsibility, he fills his life full of excuses, his wife begins to mother him. In other words, treat him as a child. And his thought process is one that reacts and not one that acts. We say that maturity and manhood is a man who has the capacity to confront situations, hostilities, difficulties, and take a step back and consider and reflect before he reacts, before he talks, before he conducts himself. So the highlight of maturity in chapter 7 is that a man would learn how to govern his spirit before he's entrusted with his wife's spirit and is responsible to cultivate and to get to the place where on difficult situations, in times of trouble, he's able to stop and consider and reflect and garner wisdom before he speaks and before he conducts himself so that he could act in a way which is proper. The example we gave tonight was a young girl who's 10 years old, and as she's seen her father struggle in his relationships, finally his father gets into a secondary, third relationship and is arguing with his wife, with his new spouse, and he's flailing his arms and he's shouting, and his 10-year-old daughter calls him over to the corner behind the living room and says, "Dad, you're not acting like a man, you're acting like a sissy. You're supposed to put your hands in your pocket and you're supposed to speak softly and not loudly and not shouting and not throwing a tantrum." This became a very confrontational means by which the husband, her father, was able to go back into the room and conduct himself properly. And so this is the highlight of this chapter, that we would garner maturity in not reacting but acting appropriately so that our spouse might respect and see a dignified leader in the home, and she's able to follow and respect and honor. So in this journey that we're going towards manhood, to be able to reflect and consider and not act like a child, not act like an immature man, that's our goal. God bless you.